everybody, and welcome to the Chronic Edge Unleashed. Illness is not a burden. I'm your host, Elliot Evans, and today we're going to be talking about autism in the workplace. So let's get started. Well, thank you for joining us on our maiden voyage into the new series, Illness is Not a Burden, as part of the Chronic Edge Unleashed rebrand, where we deep dive into the realities of living with a chronic health condition, disability, or neurodivergence, always emphasizing that these are not burdens, but what makes us uniquely human. If you're looking for any of the citations, research, information that we have from here, you will find that in the descriptions. It is always important to seek legal and medical advice before moving forward. This information is just there that you can potentially get out yourself. So what's our focus? What we're going to be talking about today? We're going to be talking about a brief history of what autism is, how it can impact individuals both positively and negatively, the stigma that it persists in professional environments, and the incredible benefits of having an autistic colleague or employee. The aim of these shows and these episodes in general have always been to inform, inspire, and push for change, which is desperately needed because everybody deserves a fair shot at a thriving career. So let's look at basics. What exactly is autism? Well, autism spectrum disorder, or ADHD, is a complex developmental condition that affects how a person communicates, interacts socially, and experiences the world at large. It is characterized by persistent challenges in social communication, restricted interests, and repetitive behaviors. It is often called a syndrome because it manifests differently in each individual. No two autistics are the same. Not that everybody is on the spectrum, but it is just that, as we say, no two autistics are the same. Some might have exceptional skills in certain areas, while others may need support in daily life. Importantly, autism is caused by differentiations in brain development and is not something that can be cured and is a long life neurotypical or condition. Myself, I have a condition called Klinefelter syndrome, which is a genetic disorder, which has been known to cause or at least contribute to causing autism spectrum disorder. So a little bit of a short history to give us a little bit of context. The concept of autism has evolved significantly over time. It was first coined in around the 20th century by Swiss psychiatrist Eugene Buger, apologies if I get names wrong here, to describe a symptom of schizophrenia. But it was American psychiatrist Leo Kanner who in 1943, can you believe, identified a distinct condition in children describing what he called early infantile autism. Around the same time, Australian paediatrician Hans Asperger was studying similar traits in children, leading to what is known as Asperger's syndrome. Now, for decades, autism was misunderstood and often misdiagnosed with harmful theories, for example, the refrigerator mother, a hypothesis blaming parents which has thankfully now been debunked. It is unfortunate that that actually still remains around in the society at the moment. There is still parents that are being blamed for left, right and centre. I'm sure recently somebody said because somebody took some sort of medication that has now caused autism and it's the parents' fault for what they eat and drink, and it is just simply ridiculous to be brutally honest. Needs more to be done in there. So, in the UK, awareness grew in the 1960s with the founding of the National Autistic Society in 1962. The big shift, though, came in 2013 with the DSM-5, that is Delta Sierra Mike 5, which unified various diagnoses under the umbrella autism spectrum disorder, recognizing its broad range. Now today, 1 in 100 people in the UK are autistic or have an understanding, and our understanding, continues to improve thanks to advocacy from autistic individuals like myself and others. That is growing. It is not growing because more people are autistic for that thing. It's just we're discovering more ways on how we can diagnose quicker and more efficiently. Therefore, people who have always been autistic are being more found out. As I said before, I'm a late diagnosis autistic. I was not diagnosed until I was 35, and I was misdiagnosed with a condition known as schizotypal disorder, which is a type of schizophrenia, and medicated for 2 years until it was resolved that it was actually autism, and we had to go through all the tests and everything else. There's still a long way to go, but we are getting a lot better. So, moving on. Let's talk about how autism can impact people negatively, especially in the workplace. Now, it's crucial to acknowledge these challenges without painting autism as inherently negative. These issues often stem from a world that is not designed for the neurodiverse person. In the UK, for example, statistics start to paint a stark picture. Only around 22% to 30% of autistic adults, for example, are in any form of paid employment, compared to around 50% of all disabled and around 80% of non-disabled individuals. That is a massive, massive, and quite frankly, a disgusting gap in employment, and it is not for a lack of talent or desire to work in any shape or form. Excuse me. One major negative impact is sensory sensitivities. Many autistic people experience overload from bright lights, loud noises, or crowded offices. This can often lead to anxiety, burnout, or even meltdowns, making the standard 9 to 5 exhausting. For example, I myself get temporary mutism, which is a form of not being able to speak or struggling to find the word. This can last from a couple of minutes, couple of seconds, to a couple of hours, to even a day. Some have had experiences where it's lasted for more than weeks. It's just one example of that. Now, social interactions can also be draining. Interpreting nonverbal cues, small talk, unspoken office politics may not come naturally, leading to misunderstandings or feelings of isolation. Trying to understand what is a friend, how do I be a friend. This might sound simple to most people, to autistic, not a bloody clue. It's very, very difficult. It's just one of those things that does not come naturally. Now, this can lead to higher rates of mental health issues like depression, anxiety, and go into developmental conditions such as schizophrenia, which are always well, not always, but can be exacerbated by workplace stress. Now, the hiring process can also be another barrier. Traditional interviews, with their emphasis on eye contact and quick thinking, can be a disadvantage to the autistic candidate, even if they are highly qualified. Once employed, autistics may face bullying, discrimination, and unfair dismissal if their needs are not met. Now, a great example of that is the tick box in there, that have I got the job because I've ticked the box, or have I got the interview because I've ticked the box, or have I got the interview based on my own merit? It's just one of those things to consider, but also getting questions beforehand. Some places are getting a lot better than that, but there's still a lot of work to do. The eye contact is something that I've learnt over the years of part of my masking, but it is very difficult to do. Now, for instance, the Buckland Review of Autism Employment, published in 2024, highlighted that autistic graduates are twice as likely to be unemployed 15 months after graduation, and these negatives aren't inevitable, though. They can often be down to a lack of support, like reasonable adjustments under the UK's Equality Act 2010, which requires employees to accommodate disabilities, including autism, if they meet the definition. But it's not all a challenge. Autism can also impact people positively. Oh, who knew? Bringing unique strengths that shine in the right environment. Many autistics possess an exceptional attention to detail, allowing them to spot errors and patterns that others might miss. Invaluable in fields like data analysis, quality control, and software testing. Their ability to hyper-focus on tasks can lead to increased productivity and efficiency, often completing work faster and with higher accuracy. To give you an example, some of the best ethical hackers, these are the people that break banks but are paid to do so to ensure your cybersecurity is a lot higher. So they're technically called white hats rather than your black hat regular hackers. A good percentage of some of the best in the UK are, in fact, autistic. Now, creativity and innovational thinking is also a positive. Autistics people seem to approach problems from unconventional angles, fostering breakthrough in ideas in creative industries and or tech. Also, honesty and integrity are common traits too, as they tend to be straightforward, reliable, and deeply committed to their work. If you get an employee that you support and they feel loved and wanted, you could have that employee for life or as long as possible. Now, in the UK, programs like the National Autistic Society highlight our autistic employees can excel in roles requiring specialist knowledge or routine mastery. And let's not forget resilience. Navigating a neurotypical world builds strong problem-solving skills. There's things that we can take that other people might struggle with. So it's important to look at all those positives. Now, unfortunately, despite these strengths, stigma in the workplace remains a huge hurdle for autistic people in the UK. Stigma often stems from misconceptions, like the autistic individual lacks empathy or can't work in a team, often leading to discrimination and inclusion, or exclusion, shall we say. Many autistic workers feel forced to mask their traits, suppressing their behaviours to fit in, which can be See, here we go as a great example of not finding the word. It is exhausting, and that was the word I was trying to find. So a great example there just to put in there, which then can lead to burnout and mental health crises. Now, in 2024, a survey found that almost half of neurodivergent people, including autistics, hide their conditions during job hunts due to the fear of stigma and discrimination from recruiters, as mentioned before with the tick box. The internalized stigma can also can then become self-doubt, where the autistic individual questions their own self-worth and whether or not they should apply for the job at all anyway. Employers might overlook promotions and provide inadequate support, which then increases the cycle to burnout. Intersexual factors, or shall we just say that intersectional factors, as the word was, like gender and ethnicity, can also compound this. For example, autistic women or people of colour facing layered biases will actually be worse. Being autistic on top of that is just an extra layer that just makes things worse. So those are the good news. Education and awareness, as pushed by reports like the Buckland Review, are starting to chip away at things like this. Finally, let's flip the script. The benefits of having an autistic colleague or employee are immense, and UK businesses are massively missing out by not embracing them. Now, first off, diversity drives innovation. Autistic perspectives can lead to creative solutions and improved problems solving across teams. Their loyalty and low turnover rates mean less recruitment costs. Once in a supportive role, autistics stay long term, as mentioned previously. Now, economically, it's a win-win. The Autistica report estimates that unemployed autistic person moving from full-time work could be £9,200 better off annually, boosting the economy through taxes and reduced benefits. Now, companies like SAP, that's Sierra Alpha Papa, SAP, and Microsoft have UK programs showing autistic hires can be more predictive in certain roles, with strengths in focus and detail. Plus, fostering inclusivity improves overall workplace culture, attracting the top talent and enhancing the company's reputation. Now, support is available. Access to work grants can fund adjustments like noise-cancelling headphones or flexible hours, and the Equality Act mandates that reasonable accommodations need to be adhered to. Now, the organisations like the National Autistic Society, as mentioned many times during this episode, offer resources for employees, so do check that out. So let's wrap up. Autism in the UK workplace is about potential unlocked, not problem solved. By addressing the negatives, celebrating the positives, and dismantling stigma, we can all be reaping the benefits. We can create environments where everyone thrives. If you're autistic and job seeking and you know your rights, and seek out that support. If you're an employer, take that time, first step to neuro inclusion. It could absolutely transform your team. Now, if anybody has enjoyed this or anything, please do put a like, share, and everything. Come over and join our Edge Collective, where we can share tips, information, and more in there. And a lot of our videos will be posted in there as well. So I really appreciate you listening to me. I'm Elliot Evans, and remember that illness is not a burden. Share this episode, leave a review, as I've said before, and join us next time, where we will be talking about the individual in the workplace as being autistic, focusing more on tips and trends that can help that person while navigating the workplace. I really appreciate it. Stay empowered. I'm Elliot Evans. I have the edge. It's time to unleash yours. Thank you very much, and goodbye.